Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna Nair, and here please subscribe to my channel. Basically, this is Sunil Ramakrishna Nair, and here basically I'm discussing about the next generation. That is basically the in Hindi basically that is called Agla generation, which is going to happen. And few says that we have finished the next generation. So what actually that is basically, and how basically they give proof also that we have finished his next generation, and we have currently basically stick to that generation that we have finished it. So what actually that is? So basically in previous basically I have taken one example of the 11 lakh basically the population, sorry, 11 lakh human birth, basically that is basically the human souls. Human souls basically, human souls basically, which is generated by the energy companies and few energy companies like ONGC, Reliance, IPCL, Ames Oxygen. This whole basically company says that basically we basically has generated this 11 lakh human souls. And in Vadodara city, basically, I have taken example of 7 lakh human souls. Human souls means basically that is going to take birth basically as a child basically. And for that basically universe group says that basically we have allocated some universe, some space in the universe, and that will be, that is basically the space basically which we have allocated, which actually we have allocated, which basically we have allocated in universe basically. And that is basically the future, that is basically the next generation which is going to happen. And according to that only basically in earth planet the Bollywood group says that basically this person basically generation basically we have finished it. Why you are talking to him like this? That generation is that basically energy got generated, that this generation basically we have finished it in from the this sector that sector. Basically why you are talking to that basically particular guy? Basically disconnect the core everything basically and finish the relationship also. Like this basically digital way. And the few people say that we have rejected you, basically we have rejected your resume also basically. That energy also basically generated, and that everything basically generated, and it basically connected to the universe basically. And here the main thing is basically the universe group says that basically we basically do the entire plan, and we have allocated the space basically which energy is supposed to merge with this area basically, and which generation is not supposed to merge with that area. That means his generation is not going to happen. Literally basically they told that. So like this basically universe group basically says that we have going assume that that particular the Vadodara city and the Ahmedabad city, which is going to get the 11 lakh and the 7 lakh birth, that basically they have marked as a brown color, so that basically it could be remembered basically that this is the area basically which is basically allocated. Brown color is basically allocated for Ahmedabad city, and brown color is allocated for the Vadodara city. Like this basically they allocated that 11 lakh and the 7 lakh basically is birth basically which is going to happen. That is the basically next generation of Vadodara city, and the next generation of Ahmedabad city, which is 100% going to happen. They have basically told that basically we have given the 100% guarantee also, guarantee warranty whatever basically. So we have given, universe group is telling that we have given the guarantee that this 100 lakh basically birth is going to happen, and that person basically generation is not going to happen. So like this basically they have given the guarantee. And according to that basically they say that basically our people like Bollywood group is there, companies are basically there, and the energy groups are there, then the nuclear companies are there basically. They basically all are there basically. So like this basically the human generation basically we have already allocated. So according to that only basically the plan is going to happen, because universe group says that basically we have allocated the universe space, and we basically know basically that which kind of energy basically we require. For the according to that basically we have told that Bollywood groups that basically we want this type of energy. According to that they have planned basically also, that basically says that Bollywood group and political groups say that we have created 350 areas basically in Vadodara city, and they are going to generate this all energy basically, and that is also basically guarantee they are giving 100% that this only story is basically going to generate. So they basically gives the guarantee. If they gives the guarantee, that means what? Guarantee, warranty, whatever. Means what basically? That 100% the thing is going to happen basically. 100% the things is going to happen basically. So this is guarantee basically. That 100% 11 lakh birth is going to happen. 100% basically 7 lakh birth is going to happen. For that basically we have allocated the space. That space basically we have given as a brown next generation. Brown next generation Vadodara city. Brown next generation Ahmedabad city. We have allocated and we have given the color also basically. We have given the color also basically. For that basically the next generation is going to happen in Ahmedabad. That is basically 11 lakh. And in Vadodara city basically that is 7 lakh. So just see basically how the things are basically connecting. And it's a basically one person rules that basically it's a India country basically, and here basically everything basically works on the base of union, unity basically what we say. That is basically the next generation. 7 lakh human basically birth is going to happen in this particular universe space. 11 lakh birth is going to happen of the Ahmedabad city in this particular birthplace in the universe. So that basically all are allocated basically. That all are basically allocated also basically. That all are basically allocated. Birth basically, birth human souls basically. And few people says that AIMS oxygen is also basically into this next generation basically, which basically is supposed to happen, how they finish the next generation. That also basically we are going to see how basically next generation basically gets end, and how basically they say that basically this generation is finished. This type of generation basically we have finished it. Few basically people basically say that basically we have created for that movie also. You have not watched that movie. Few people says that basically this type of people basically is not supposed to exist in this world basically. They literally give the advertising also, and they basically spreads that this type of people basically is not supposed to get next generation. So Bollywood is also basically into this part basically, how they basically do the advertising that this generation basically is not supposed to go to next step, and not supposed to move to that 7 lakh universe basically, and not supposed to move to that 11 lakh universe place basically. 11 lakh means 11 lakh birth is going to happen in the Ahmedabad city, and in that Ahmedabad city basically universe group says basically say that this is a brown color mark basically we have done, and in that area basically the all entire energy is basically going to store of the 11 lakh people basically 11 lakh birth, where basically there is 11 lakh birth family is going to happen basically, you can say like that also. So that basically contains what? That basically contains the next generation. So this is basically the exact definition of next generation. This whole example which I just told, and that basically contains the next generation example. Sorry, definition basically you can say. This basically you can convert to definition basically. If we say that the definition, it basically comes like that. The person basically who is going to basically take the birth basically, and basically he is going to start the future generation basically. His things basically is going to work. His each and every activity which is going to happen according to the current planned story. So whatever things basically he's going to generate from his energy basically, that 11 lakh basically and the 7 lakh, that basically is going to merge with the universe place basically, that is basically marked as marked by the universe group. So that basically where the things basically are going to generate basically the energy, that basically you can say as a next generation basically. You can basically create the definition also from these examples, and this is basically literally the definition only basically. Next generation 11 lakh birth, next generation 7 lakh birth, which is 100% going to happen. That basically God family also basically decides. God family says that basically 11 lakh birth basically we can allocate to this person, that person, that person, this person, that person. This person is not supposed to allocate. That type of decision also God family takes. In Ahmedabad, so in Vadodara city, basically, they assume that there are few certain basically people who basically got the marriage, and few people are going to going to get the marriage. Like this, basically, they allocate the 7 lakh birth. Basically, this person basically is perfect. This person is perfect. This person is perfect. We can allocate this person as a birth. Basically, with this person, basically, we can allocate this person. Basically, we can allocate as a birth. This person, basically, we can allocate as a birth. Basically, this person. Like this, basically, they allocates the birth. They allocate the birth basically, and for that basically they literally do the earthquakes also basically, they literally do the earthquakes also. First they basically allocate the space basically, and then they basically connects with the earth planet. That time basically one small earthquake basically happens. If I say that basically earthquakes are also basically connected to next generation, then also it would be 100% correct. So 7 lakh birth basically going to happen, and the Vadodara city basically told that basically we have done the plan, and for that basically we have created 350 city, sorry 350 areas, and for that basically government has done the certain level of plan, and we have basically purchased the plan from the IITs, IIMs, and the MBA group basically. For that basically they told that basically we have created lots of plan according to the universe place basis space basically, which is allocated by the set of satellites groups basically. And the satellite group says that basically we want basically this type of energy, and this type of energy basically how basically which you are going to generate that. For that basically we have given you a set of energies, that for example you want this type of romance energy, then basically you can use this basically with all the planets energy. If you want the pain energy basically, for example in leg pain basically, if you want to give any person's if you want to give any person leg pain basically, then to use this energy. For that basically lots of software companies are also basically allocated, and they literally basically do the business that we want to give like pen to that particular person. For that basically we have taken this much money from the government, and government is selling that basically, that is public demand basically. So like this basically things also basically happens, and literally basically government says that that is basically told by the public basically. We do the SMS basically, you want to give the leg pain, then basically that keeps the proof also basically. In future basically that leg pain person basically will react, then basically what will happen, they basically never thinks. So like this basically things are there basically. Like this literally the 7 lakh birth basically, which is going to allocate. For that basically 350 areas are basically created. 350 areas basically in Vadodara cities, and it's created basically. You literally basically will be confused basically, but that basically universe group basically never gets confused, because that's basically their task. Because they, when they create the universe energy, when they create the universe area, that time only they maps the area basically. That area is that area is basically for this 7 lakh birth basically, which is going to happen. That's why basically they say that basically we as satellites are directly connected with the universe, directly connected with the energy company, that is basically the Reliance, ONGC, IPCL, Ames Oxygen. These all are the basically energy companies basically, who are basically satellites group. Says that basically we are directly connected with this group basically, because 7 lakh birth basically you have designed. So basically, and with the help of satellite group basically, so basically we are basically directly connected with you. So like this basically they say that basically we have got universe power. So we can do anything basically. We can break anyone's leg, we can break anyone's head. Like this basically they literally got the power basically by the universe group only. Like this basically they say that basically the universe group says that basically this 7 lakh basically the universe space basically which is basically allocated for the 7 lakh birth of the Vadodara city. For that basically we have basically changed this whole satellites basically who are basically going to take the energy of this 7 lakh birth basically which is going to happen and which basically happens, and then basically their story basically starts according to 350 areas which is basically created by the government group. So just see basically the chain basically this all thing basically is already done basically. Like this basically the creation is already created. Like this basically assume that currently basically just within few months basically few couple basically got married, and then basically after few months basically the few couple are going to go to the marriage side basically. That time basically they says that that time also basically we have allocated 7 lakh birth. For that also basically we have created particular universe space basically. So that basically comes into the generation basically. That is basically the this generation, that generation. So basically what actually generation is? One person basically literally asked the question, you are telling generation, 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 next generation, next generation, next generation. Which basically says that the IPCL group says that this is the next generation. ONGC group says that this is the next generation. AIMS Oxygen group says that this is the next generation. IOC basically group says this is the next generation. Tata Power group says that this is the next generation, which basically they said they have created it. Reliance says that basically this is our next generation. ONGC group says this is our next generation, which we have created and we have dumped into the environment basically. So that is the thing basically. The next generation which is going to happen and which is going to generate these all things basically, and then basically the certain level space is basically allocated in the universe, and that universe basically is going to create certain level of energies and they are going to do some manipulation in that universe area. So like this Ahmedabad city allocated 11 lakh childbirth which is 100% going to happen, 7 lakh birth which is 100% going to happen. Even basically that person basically is having HIV AIDS, then also basically one of the doctor told that basically birth will 100% happen. But if Nasbandi has done, then basically we can't do anything basically. So that type of things are also there basically. That type of stories are also basically generated in the universe basically. In the universe basically. In the universe basically. And that basically is the basically they says that basically according to that basically generation which has ended, according to that basically we have created the 7 lakh birth basically. 7 lakh birth basically according to the previously ended generation, we have created 7 lakh birth basically. And according to that basically we have created the universe space also basically. And according to that lots of energy basically has generated, lots of things basically has generated. Like this lots of things basically has happened also basically. Like this basically the universe group says that basically we have done the Jashan basically of this 7 lakh birth basically which is going to happen, and 11 lakh basically Ahmedabad basically which is going to happen. Birth 100% birth basically which is going to happen from the sperm basically of the men with the help of woman, sperm and woman. So like this basically things are also basically there. So we basically literally now basically the universe basically group says that basically we have allocated 11 lakh birth and 7 lakh birth in universe space which is basically created by and which is marked as a brown color, and brown color basically says that that is the next generation which is 100% going to happen, and these all are the people basically whose next generation is going to happen 100%, and these all are those people basically whose next generation is not going to happen. So literally basically we are going to see in this detail of this all attraction.